To order. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, take the roll, please.
Trustee Spurling. Here. Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Hines. President Brawley.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak. Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Thank you. We have a quorum this evening. Moving on, public participation this evening. If there's any member of the public that wishes to address the board, now would be the time. I don't think I need to wait too long. Not today. And then the big event of the evening, swearing in of Officer Paul Mikolajczyk. And with that, I'll ask the chief to introduce him and give a brief.
Thank you, Village President. Tonight, I'd like to introduce Officer Paul Mikolajczyk. Paul is in the audience here with his parents. His father, Paul Mikolajczyk, and Barbara Mikolajczyk. Paul graduated from Western Illinois University with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Paul grew up and currently moved after he was hired from Alsop to Naperville, I believe, right? No, Lyle, my bad. Paul is certified. We received a letter a couple weeks ago that he passed his certification. That was the exam that he took during the academy. Paul was hired in September of 2013 and graduated on December 20th. On December 20th, we attended graduation at Suburban Law Enforcement Academy. The certification that Paul took is an exam that you must pass to become certified. I received that letter from the Illinois Law Enforcement Training Standards Board mid-January. So tonight, I'd like to introduce Officer Paul Mikolajczyk.
Awesome. Welcome. Get to try out this new wireless mic. Go ahead. All right. Okay. Get them to get your pretty face and not mine. All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Paul Mikolajczyk,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of police officer
the duties of a police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
There we go.
Were you in the pickup this morning?
You're supposed to say see in court. That's what Steve always says to him.
Looked a little bit like you.
Over and over. All right.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on this evening. I'll read the consent agenda, and then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Minutes of the village board meeting of January 13th. Minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of January 21st. Accounts payable, January 21st. Accounts receivable report from December of 2013. The appointment of Mike Hammond to Plan Commission for a term from February 1st, 2014 through January 31st, 2019. And also Patrick Kelsey, Plan Commission, February 1st, 2014 through January 31st, 2019. Item G, the appointment of Eric Barnes to the Police Pension Board to fill a vacancy through April 30th of 2014. And the request for Misericordia to conduct their Jelly Belly Candy Days, April 25th and 26th of 2014. And if there aren't any other questions, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second. Take the roll, please. To approve. We're not going to adjourn. That's why we have an attorney.
Trustee Hines. Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Thank you. And that carries unanimously. That's great. All right, items for separate action this evening. The first item this evening is recommendation of Plan Commission PC 2013-015, special use for White Eagle Auto Body and special use for motor vehicle service. And we talked about this at the committee of the whole meeting, but since Trustee Youngerman wasn't here, we put this on for items for separate action this evening. So, and I'll turn it over to Director of Community Development, Rich Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. Village Board, as you know, last week we reviewed this at the Committee of the Whole. There were only a few minor items that needed to be corrected. One of the discussion points last week was the use on this site of a chain link fence versus a wood fence. That seemed to be the consensus of the Committee of the Whole, so that was incorporated. And there was only one other item that needs to be in order, and that's the approval of the state for the access and drainage. We're still awaiting that, but until such time, the permit would be held. But once that's granted by the state, then we would be able to move forward with this development.
Just for clarification purposes, we were going to approve the chain link fence in lieu of the wooden fence?
That's correct, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions of the board? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Bond, second. By Trustee Hines. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Hines. Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
And that carries 6-0. We'll move right on to item B, which is the actual ordinance, Ordinance 1608, SU, special use for White Eagle Auto Body. This is a waiver of the first reading and passage on the second. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Youngerman, second by Trustee Marisak. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Hines.
And that carries 6-0. Move on to item C this evening, which is Resolution 2014-002, which is the authorizing the purchase of electricity. And I'll ask Director of Public Works, Mike Puvens, for a summary.
Thank you, President Brawley. In your pack tonight is a resolution authorizing the village administrator to enter into a contract for electricity purchases by the village. This is through NIMEC. It's an organization we've been using for, I think, since 2006 to purchase electricity. There's generally three types of electricity bids that NIMEC has been doing for us. Residential electricity, which was done last year, street lighting, and bulk municipal electricity. That's the electricity that we use at our water treatment plants, lift stations, et cetera. So this particular authorization is for that bulk municipal use. So passage of this resolution tonight will allow us to participate in the NIMEC bidding process and will allow Administrator Zopel to enter into an agreement if he feels it's in the best interest of the village. We're asking for permission to look at both one-year bids and three-year bids. Typically, we've done a one-year bid because of the pricing has been better and the market has been relatively stable in that direction. We think this year, right now, we've been told that 3-year bid prices are lower, so we'll certainly look at that. But the reason for the authorization or the request for it now is the bidding process, and the market changes quickly. So once the bids are collected, we generally have 24 hours to accept or reject a bid. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And the typical process is, once that's completed, then you guys would update the board at the next meeting, or
Yes, yeah.
are there any questions of staff on this?
No.
If there are not any, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Moved and second. Take the roll, please.
Who made the first
Marisak.
motion? Okay. Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Spurling?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Hines? Trustee Youngerman?
Yes.
And that carries 6-0. Move on to item D this evening, which is Resolution 2014-003, authorizing the use of MFT funds to pay for IDOT improvements at Illinois 31 and Watkins Street. With that, I'll turn it back over to Mike.
Thank you, President Brawley. The resolution tonight that we're asking you to consider and hopefully pass would allow us to continue the process of the Illinois 31 and Watkins Street improvements that the Department of Transportation is managing. This resolution will help us pay for the Watkins Street rail crossing. Initially, the K Street, Watkins Street crossing was part of the Illinois 31 interchange. They subsequently broke it out into a separate contract that had to do with getting authorization and railroad approval, et cetera. But they are moving forward with it. So ultimately, this project will eliminate the K Street crossing and move it to Watkins Street. So the resolution tonight, the funds are budgeted out of our MFT fund. They're per our intergovernmental agreement with the Department of Transportation that we passed in 2013. So it's really somewhat of a procedural element to allow the project to continue forward and to pay the department our share of the cost. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
I got one real quick. What changed to make it from a $6,900 budgeted item to $24,000? Did we change the something?
I don't believe so.
I can,
Go ahead, Pete.
yeah, what happened is that IDOT had submitted an agreement to us prior to the project being bid, and they estimated the amount at $6,900. Then they split projects, and the intergovernmental agreement was amended to reflect the higher amount. So we had already recorded it in the budget, you know, a year ago, and then we got new information, and the actual agreement that the village agreed to was the higher number. So it just wasn't budgeted that way.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion to approve. Moved by Trustee Hines.
Second.
Second by Trustee Bond. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Hines? Trustee Youngerman?
Yes.
Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Spurling?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Is there, there's no items for discussion this evening. Is there any new or unfinished business to come before the board?
I have a couple questions on a couple issues, please. These are both for Mike. Could you give us an update on the IDOT projects, where they stand right now? What IDOT is going to do to begin to get the projects back on track and on schedule?
With the Route 30 widening, the goal is to have the contractor work throughout the winter to continue pavement removal and to install underground storm sewer. Initially, before the Christmas holiday, they had planned on taking a 2-week break and then starting back up. The weather has waylaid that, but that is still their intent. They are probably 4 to 5 weeks behind, so, but they have been working with IDOT. Contractor Plody has been working closely with IDOT to look for ways to make up that time. On the other project, the Route 31 interchange, it is about the same length of time behind, perhaps a little longer. The plan for making up that time is not quite as clear yet. The winter work is limited that they can do on that project, so it'll be a matter of perhaps spending more time on it once the season reopens.
Okay. On the widening of 30, have they given you any date as to when they're going to transfer traffic over to the new pavement?
I have not received an updated schedule on that. We are meeting tomorrow, I believe. We're doing bi-weekly meetings. We alternate projects, so I think tomorrow is our Route 30 meeting, so I can report to the board.
My second question, I know that there were some updates on the village website concerning salt and salt stockpiles. Has that changed at all, or are we getting, can you give us an update, please?
Just a quick recap, as many of you are aware, there's a regional shortage in bulk rock salt. The contractor for the state did deliver approximately 80 to 90 tons to us Friday night, which gave us, I estimate we have about 500 tons on site, and I believe we still have 200 to 300 on order. That'll take us to our limit for the contract. In the spring of each year, if you participate in the State of Illinois Central Management Services Program, you have to indicate how many tons you wish to have bid. The contract requires that we purchase a minimum of 80% of that, but the contractor has to be able to deliver 120% of it. So we're getting, well, we've got our entire order in for the 120%. So as we posted on the website and on Facebook last week, we are altering our salt spreading strategy a bit. We're going to focus on primary routes and do probably single pass salting on secondary routes. Quite honestly, in these temperatures, rock salt by itself loses its effectiveness under 10 to 15 degrees. It no longer has the ability to take heat out of the atmosphere to melt. We do add calcium chloride, which is a liquid melter that helps us down to the 0, 5 below range. But one of the challenges with melting snow when it's that cold is refreeze. So during this last period with high winds and extremely cold temperatures, we haven't really targeted a lot of melting just because of the refreezing problem that you'll have. So we're looking at some temperatures in the mid-20s, I think by Wednesday or Thursday. So Street Supervisor Byron and I talked today about possibly doing some salt runs on that day, but we figure we still have probably 6 weeks or so that we need to keep some salt in reserves. We do have calls into other vendors. Gary called 5 vendors last week. 4 of them either could not commit to any other deliveries because they need to meet their commitments, and I believe 2 of them were just completely out of salt. We are on a waiting list with another company, so we hope to hear more from them and possibly get some salt delivered. We are well under our budget. We budgeted $160,000. We've spent about $100,000 to $110,000 now with this latest delivery. So it's not a budgetary item, it's really a supply item. So,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
I just wanted to add a comment on that. I just wanted to let you know, I appreciate that you and the staff were monitoring our salt levels. I did see on the news there was another municipality who actually was saying they ran out of salt. So we're being proactive to try to conserve, and I appreciate that, so that we're not in that boat. So I just want to say
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
There was a Facebook posting that attempted to clarify what kinds of streets the village is responsible for and what one's fault to the state or the county. And that has continued to surface as a source of confusion. I wonder if we might consider putting that explanation on our webpage so that it's constantly there, just to clarify what I hopefully was accurate in explaining to people that the red snowplow trucks are Village of Montgomery. And I think many of the complaints that I fielded related more to roads that we don't maintain or have responsibility for. So the quicker we could reduce that confusion, the better, I think.
I read that same thread on Facebook, and there was a lot of misinformation. I mean, people were talking about SSA taxes and all kinds of things on there, and it's SSA taxes have nothing to do with it. Mike's right. I mean, once salt reaches or the temperatures reach a certain level, the salt's not effective. And I don't want you to go out and waste it, and people are just going to have to drive, you know, God forbid we actually drive the speed limit or a little bit under the speed limit and are courteous to each other and just take a little bit longer to get to where we need to go. That's how we're going to get through it. So,
Trustee Bond, we could post something for certain, just to clarify whose responsibility certain routes are. I mean, generally it's state, county, local in this area that we would,
Township.
in township.
It'd be terrific. We could at least continue to refer people back to that page and
If I could, there was a comment, some posters were concerned about why the village did not relay pothole calls to the state of Illinois. And the reason being is, for us to act as the middleman, we just aren't capable of passing on the correct information. There's also a claims process that the department has that we certainly wouldn't add anything to that process. So we're not trying to shirk duties. It's just much more effective if people speak to IDOT directly. And we are in contact with the department. They're certainly aware that all the state routes are having pothole issues, and they monitor them on a regular basis.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, thanks, guys. With that, you can see future meetings, board meetings, plan commission. The one that's not on here would be the State of the Village address on February 13th at 8:30 in the morning. And then there is no executive session, so for the second time tonight, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Moved by trustee Hines, second by trustee Youngerman. Take the roll, please. Or
Trustee Hines. Trustee Youngerman. Trustee Marisak.
yes.
yes.
Trustee Bond.
yes.
Trustee Spurling. Yes. Trustee Lee.
And we're adjourned. Thanks for coming out.